Hi, today in class we learned how to do matrix multiplication, and I'm making a short video clip here to kind of demonstrate how we do that. And so let's get started with that. I have two matrices up here. I have a matrix A and a matrix B, and A has a dimension of 3 rows by 2 columns. Those are rows and these are columns. And B has the dimensions of 2 by 2, 2 rows and 2 columns. We always give our dimensions by the number of rows by the number of columns. And we're going to see if we can multiply these two things together. We're going to see if we can take matrix A times matrix B. And the first thing we check is we check to see if the dimensions match up. Matrix A, as I said, is a 3 by 2, and matrix B is a 2 by 2. And what we are looking for, we're looking for to see if those two middle dimensions happen to be the same. And in this situation, they are. And if they are the same, then we can go ahead with this multiplication. The second thing we're going to determine is what is the size of this matrix multiplication. And the size is generated from these outside dimensions, which are 3 by 2. So when we multiply this together, this matrix will be a 3 by 2 matrix. Now, a 3 by 2 matrix, I like to set up what that looks like. A 3 by 2 matrix, looks a lot like this. There are 3 rows and 2 columns. And so I like to draw blanks, kind of simulating what those things I need to fill in those places. And when you multiply matrices, you multiply the elements in the first matrix, the elements in the rows of the first times the elements in the columns of the second. So I'm going to take the elements in in matrix A, in the rows of matrix A, times the elements in the columns of matrix B, which sounds a little bit wordy, and I probably could clean that up, but oh well. So what are the things in the first row here? This is the first row. Well, the things in row comes from the elements of row A, or matrix A. And that would be 2 times something plus -2 times something. Now this would be the same row, so I'm going to take 2 times something plus -2 times something. And so what I like to do is I like to work with the rows first. So now I'm done with these elements here, the first row. I'm moving down to the second row. And so I'm going to use 3 and 1. And I'm going to take 3 times something plus 1 times something. And also I'm going to continue that. 3 times something plus 1 times something. So I now need to move down to the next one. And now I'm moving down to this -2 and 4 repeated. So I'll take -2 times something plus 4 times something. -2 and 4. Now what are these somethings? Well, keep in mind, this is going to be a matrix, and these somethings, these blanks that I have here, are going to be the columns values in matrix B. So you can see that this is the first column, and so I'm going to be working with the elements in the first column of B, which are just going to be 1 and -2. And so you see a pattern develop. It's 1 and -2, 1 and -2, 1 and -2. And the values over here, these are in the second column of B, which are -3 and 0 in my example. So I have -3s here and 0s there. And you can see that the pattern that I have generated. Now, to get the answer to this, it's just a simple matter of doing a little bit of arithmetic and just being careful with your positive and negative signs to see what we end up with. If we move across here, I have 2 times 1 plus -2 times -2, and that gives me a value of 6. If I keep moving across here, I have 2 times -3, which is -6, plus -2 times zeros. That's nice when you have zeros, because that's just going to give me -6. Notice that these zeros are going to help me out when I do my multiplication and addition. Here I have 3 times 1 plus 1 times negative 2. And 3 times 1 plus 1 times negative 2 is actually going to give me 1. Here I have 3 times negative 3 plus 0, which is 9. Here I have negative 2 times 1 plus 4 times negative 2. That would be negative 2 plus negative 8, which is negative 10. Here we have positive 6, which ends up being our, our last element here. And so, you know, it's not that difficult. You just have to be real careful. The setup is the key. And I hope that you will be able to do this on your own. And so I thank you for checking in with me. See ya.